Hello everybody, I am leaving my hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment for today and I'm feeling quite all right. So I wanted to make this video, it's quite belated, but I had a couple people respond as interested to my Instagram story where I asked if they wanted my advice or I guess suggestions on how to better track their patterns that happen in their bodies. And when I say track their patterns, I mean, you know, if you are going through something where you're experiencing symptoms or you just experience weird experiences or things that you might not understand why they happen to you or where they come from, and this can apply to anything from like physical experiences or symptoms like with your health or even with your moods or even with things that seem random or out of place, especially if you're a more sensitive type of person who is more like aware and tuned to the subtle like differences of your moods, your feelings, whatever it is. So yeah, just a very basic tool that you can use to help you track your own experiences and communicate with your body as an organism and as many organisms interacting with one another is write down a list of literally any and every major factor you can think of that you suspect might play a role in how you feel. And then write down what it is that you're trying to track and whether that's a mood or a physical symptom or a thought or even a pattern that happens in your relationship or even a pattern that occurs in your life. You can take this to whatever scale that you want. You can track things over years, you can track things over days, you can track things over hours or minutes. It all depends on what you're trying to become in tune with. But the purpose of tracking whatever it is that you're trying to track is to develop a relationship, a two-way communication street with your body and with the wisdom of your body, and to come to know how different factors influence how your body communicates, whether it's your environment, your diet, your relationships, your thoughts, your behaviors, the quality of water that you take a shower in, how your body feels when you shower in your regular tap water versus after you put the filter on. You know, the difference between sleeping in your own house versus sleeping in somebody else's house. Like, there are literally countless environmental influences and energetic influences that have a real effect on our bodies. And if we are struggling with trying to figure out the answer to certain questions about why we experience what we experience to no avail, then it could be beneficial to start to notice how different factors influence your life. And I know that what I'm saying isn't like a direct protocol or map, like a pre-written map for you to copy and paste and apply to your own life. I mean, you know, because you can customize what it is that you want to pay attention to. But if you are someone who wants to track maybe your subtle experiences, maybe your psychic insights, maybe your intuitive insights, maybe your physical symptoms, your emotional experiences, whatever it is that you want to track, you know, you can do it in a million different ways. But the basic, I think, most important point to do is to pay attention to get to know what the important factors are that affect and create changes in what it is that you're trying to track. I hope this makes sense. This is all off the top of my head, coming from my own experience. And turn that blinker off. Yeah, so a couple of examples to help you become more in tune with your body of things that you can track is you can write down on a chart, like a cross chart. You can write down the phase of the moon, for example, because I know for one thing the illumination of the moon legitimately does, I mean, it literally has an effect on the tides of the earth, so who would we be to think that it doesn't affect our bodies, you know what I mean? And also parasites tend to be more active during a full moon. Emotions tend to be higher during a full moon. And energetically, you know, full moons are times of expansion. So you might experience something during a full moon or a higher lunar illumination period that reveals something that maybe was less noticeable before, but it comes to the surface during a full moon. So, you know, if you pay attention to what comes up more frequently during a full moon, you might get to, you know, you might get closer to the root of whatever it is that you're trying to pay attention to. So the full moon is the moon phases is one factor to pay attention to. Another factor is the season. You know, what season is it? What's the temperature? What's the temperature outside? Is it humid? Is it dry? How does the level of wind or no wind, you know, play a role on how you feel? The level of sun or no sun, whether it's raining or not raining. We're all wired differently. We all come from a different line of genetics and ancestry, and our ancestors have different codes in their genes that were adapted to be compatible with certain conditions, including the weather, including the ecosystem, the environment, and not compatible with other things. And for example, I'm staying in Florida right now. I hate it. I hate this place. It's so bad for me. But when I'm in, for example, an environment that has temperate seasons, I do much better. An environment that cools down 20 degrees or 30 degrees different from nighttime to daytime. I love summer storms. I love alpine elevations. I love dry air. You know, I love certain types of trees. There are different things that I'm just drawn to that make me feel happier. So even you know, on a level as subtle as emotion, or just how our genes are unconsciously responding to our internal experience of our environment, I mean, that makes a difference on our health and on our overall quality of life. So the moon phase, the weather, also another important thing to pay attention to is diet. What are you eating? How is it influencing you? And just notice the patterns. Just notice the patterns. Pay attention to the kind of water you're drinking. Where are you sourcing your water? How do you interact? Like, how do you feel when you drink from this filter versus no filter? And then, you know, when you do certain activities, when you go on a hike, when you go hang out with a certain person, when you do a certain activity with a certain person, when you go hang out in a certain environment, you know, all these things. Like, if anything that I'm saying sticks out to you as like, I actually noticed that I experienced this symptom or this reaction when I was in this situation, or after I ate this, or after I drank this, or after I was with this person, or after I was in this place. First, you know, don't second guess yourself. Just observe. I feel like I have something. No, it's just a shadow. I think it's a bane. Yeah, it's a bane. Yeah, don't doubt yourself. Don't second guess your real experience. But just, you know, figure out what you want to pay attention to, how you want to track these things. If you take supplements, how do they interact? And I'm telling you, the more you observe overarching themes and patterns over the course of your life, the more intuitive you're going to become. And the more you're going to be able to instantly or more quickly be able to recognize the root cause of a specific symptom or a specific thing. And I can say this because I was born with the natural inclination to recognize patterns and to observe patterns. And it's something I pay a lot of attention to. And it's essentially what intuition is made of. Because intuition, all it is pattern recognition at a very, 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 you know, astute level. And and to the point where it doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always make measurable sense. And that's why I've been able to have experiences that, you know, of medical intuition, where my body is drawn to a specific supplement on the shelf, and then I look up what it does, and then lo and behold, it actually serves the function that my body is needing at that time. One unique example is how I was like almost aggressively drawn to a pumpkin seed oil supplement, and pumpkin seeds contain curcubacin or curcubitacin or something like that, which is a component that paralyzes parasites. And then literally a month and a half later, I found out that I had a massive infestation, and pumpkin seeds paralyze parasites. So like, you know, there you go. So the more you pay attention to how different rhythms and cycles and conditions and environments outside of you influence your insides, the more you will begin to trust your own rhythms and your body's more subtle signals, and you can take your health, your emotions, your inner world back into your hands and feel empowered and feel clear. And you don't need to worry about being susceptible to being gaslit by a doctor or a psychologist or some person who traditionally, you know, would be sitting in a chair where they have some kind of authority over your mind, your emotions, your physical health, your body, but nobody does. The good kind of relationship that can come out of working with a practitioner who is there to help and support you with your health, with your growth is, you know, of course they're there to teach you things that maybe you didn't know before and to show you things, but they're there to have a relationship with you, to talk to you, and to encourage you to listen to yourself so that you can learn to trust your body more and be more in control of the quality of life that I think God put you on this earth to experience. And, you know, everybody has a different degree of capacity to understand their body signals. And we don't necessarily live in a society where we are explicitly taught to listen to ourselves, especially in my experience in public schools or with doctors or with, you know, other people, other authority figures. And so that's why I'm making this video. That's why I'm passionate about teaching this kind of stuff. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or if you want me to clarify anything, please leave a comment. I'm here to serve. I'm here to support. And track your patterns, get to know your body's rhythms, get to know what your body is speaking to you, and get in relationship with your world, your environment, your cells, the plants around you, the food around you, the places around you, the energies around you. It's possible. It's amazing. So much opens up when, or so much has opened up for me since doing this, because of doing this. So that is all. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.